Hello and welcome to another double sleeve review, where today we're looking at the Gamegenic Closable Inner Sleeves, a rival to the Dragon Shield Resealable Inner Sleeves. Are they any good, or should you just stick to usual inner sleeves? We'll find out. If you enjoy these videos and you're loving the reviews we're doing, please drop me a comment, throw a like on the video, and we would love it if you subscribed. We are closing in on 900 subscribers right now, and that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you all for your support. A quick disclaimer, this product was provided to us by Gamegenic. A big thank you to them. It was actually quite difficult to get hold of at one point, so they sent us a couple of packs so we could do this review. They don't have any input into this review and they don't get to see it early or anything. We just want to make sure you guys know that they did send us these for free. When reviewing inner sleeves, we break things down into 5 categories: double sleeving, security, foil clarity, toughness, and price. So let's start with double sleeving, and we need to talk about how this sleeve works. It's a side-loading sleeve, which is unusual enough in itself, but it also has a flap, much like the Dragon Shield Resealables, that you need to curl around the card and tuck into the other side of the sleeve. This gives you this pseudo four-walled, sealed-in card effect, and we all know that when sleeving with a side-loading sleeve, it is much easier and has a lot less issues because you have a larger space to put the card into and it has to go for a lesser distance into the sleeve. So the actual sleeving experience of putting a card in sideways into a side-loading sleeve of any description is fairly pleasant and rather easy. These were no different. They were very nice sleeves to put cards into. The flap is a little bit fiddly, much like with the Dragon Shield, but again, it has less distance to go, and after a little while, you got the hang of it, and they're pretty good to sleeve with. When it comes to putting the inner sleeved card into an outer sleeve, no real issues at all. The nature of having a resealable or closable sleeve is such that it is harder for it to come out, and the normal issues you get where the card is forced down into the sleeve and the inner sleeve is left unable to go deeper into the outer sleeve, that doesn't really happen at all because it's sealed in, especially doubly so when you have a side-loading sleeve, as the direction that the card is moving is sort of to 90 degrees to the direction that the card is going into the outer sleeve. You can see it here, it's very easy and very simple, actually quite a pleasant experience. The sleeve is fairly tight, and so you don't really have any issues with putting it into an outer sleeve of pretty much any description. So as far as double sleeving goes, fairly good. Now we move on to security, and this is a test we only do for inner sleeves, which is the water test. Something that we would advise do not do at home. There's no requirement to. This is why we do it. But basically we put the card inside the inner sleeve exactly as we have shown. We then put it inside of an outer sleeve. You can see here we use one of the Mewtwo ones from our Pokemon Go ETB. A pretty standard sleeve, and we pop that fully double sleeved card into a bowl of water for some seconds, moving it around, jostling it, just to make sure that this is simulating your bottle spilling in your bag or you dropping the card onto a puddle or something maybe. Either way, it's worst case scenario territory. So then we take the card out, pat it dry, and try and make sure that we do the best job we can to not get any additional water where it shouldn't go. Once we've unsleeved it, we want to see whether or not any water got to the card. Now, in this example, you can see there is a ever so slightly tiny little bit of where water has potentially got to the edge of the card. Now, I would say that this is a very marginal amount, and for majority of any cards it may or may not have any real impact. However, that is a risk that you run with any side-loading sleeve, as where the gap of both sleeves meets in the corner, there is going to be an area that is exposed to air and to liquids. So even with it being resealable, which helps, there is still a gap, a tiny slither, and you know, water is not something that needs a huge amount of space to get to anything precious. So it is very small, and we would say that this is largely a decent showing, much better than a normal side-loading sleeve. However, it is a risk you run when you have a side-loading sleeve and a top-loading outer sleeve, and trust me, you can't have a side-loading outer sleeve. It just doesn't work. Now we move on to foil clarity, and as you would expect, these Gamegenic inner sleeves are absolutely spot on. You have lovely foils in here, the camera picks it up fairly well, but there's no issues at all. These inner sleeves are spot on. Next we move on to toughness, and for the toughness test we do a couple of things. One, we do a card capacity test, and another we do a one finger stretch test. The card capacity test just demonstrates roughly how flexible the sleeve is, how spacious the sleeve is, and how tough those seams are from a kind of steady increase of pressure. And we can barely get 5 cards into this sleeve. It is very tight, it doesn't want to budge, yeah, ends up just not wanting to move at all. So a very tight sleeve really is what that shows us, but doesn't split and doesn't break. However, we move on to the one finger stretch test, and as you can see here, very, very little effort is required to split these seams. A lot of Gamegenic sleeves are very strong, very tough, the seams are very good. These seem to have a completely different mechanism for creation. The seal on the seams is truly terrible, and even when I was just sleeving cards, the seams were splitting. I would say if you wanted to sleeve 100 cards, I wouldn't just buy one pack of 100 inner sleeves, because you're probably going to break at least 3 or 4 in the process. Therefore, not good. I would say very poor toughness rating, unfortunately, which is a real shame. And now we move on to price. Gamegenic's website says they are $4.99, that's pounds, euros, dollars, whatever. And we do sell them for $4.79, so a little bit of a discount there. However, we always urge you to do your own research on price, and whether or not you think $4.99 or $4.79 is a good deal for a pack of 100 inner sleeves, that is very much up to you. So, in summary, these sleeves, they're pretty good. If you like the idea of resealing, then they're okay. There are other resealables on the market that we will be talking about and we're doing more reviews of, but so far the only two that we are okay with are the Dragon Shields and the Gamegenics. We don't sell products that we aren't completely happy with, so the fact that we do list them means that we think that there's a good purpose for these. However, the caveat is always that we really just like good quality inner sleeves. They don't need to be resealable, largely. If they're inverted into an outer sleeve, you get the seal that you want much quicker, much cheaper. However, if you've got really expensive cards and you want to have that extra bit of protection, it is worth bearing in mind that that does increase the thickness of your cards in total once they're sleeved, and you will need a larger deck box. Check out Deck Box Review for an XL Stronghold if you want to have a look at something like that, which we did just the other week. But yeah, what do you think of this review? What do you think of these? Have you tried the closables? They're a fairly new product. Do you think that they're worth it? Has this review convinced you you should or shouldn't buy these products? Let us know. And are there other products we need to be reviewing? Please, again, comment below, and we would really love a like, a little subscribe. That would really help us out, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.